a show that is no longer in town is that of Ezekiel Elliott. After 7 seasons, that show has now moved on. But now, for this team, still a lot to do this offseason, as after 7 years, Ezekiel Elliott has been cut by this team. He will be a post-June 1 cut. So the team, who was going to be owing him over $16 million this season, said, not going to happen. And now he will have a chance to find work elsewhere. Hello, Tampa, Los Angeles, the Chargers specifically, who need a little bit of a running back situation and in help there. So we'll see where Ezekiel Elliott ultimately lands. For you, Jess, what was your initial reaction, though, to not only the news of Ezekiel Elliott, but in the larger context of what that means now for a man in Tony Pollard, who's going to be shouldering the load now for this football team?
You know, this is such an interesting move because this is my first season really getting the dive into the team and meeting these guys in the locker room and having conversations with them all season. So it takes the fan hat off and it really puts the media journalist hat on. And that was a really weird transition, but being in that space now, it makes sense logically and business-wise. It makes sense. We saw it coming. The writing was on the wall for a long time, but it doesn't take away the significance of what a guy Zeke is for this franchise, what he has been. And I think something that does not get talked about enough is the leadership that he brings to that locker room. And so, yes, that's not the most important aspect of Zeke, but that is such a hard void to fill. Whether you're a veteran, whether you're a rookie, being that kind of leader that people look up and respect, that is hard to replace. And so it makes me sad for the guys in the locker room that kind of have to fill that void a little bit more. You see, you're going to have to see Tony Pollard step up into that I'm the leader, I'm the running back one role now. But I know he's capable of doing it. He's basically been carrying the weight of this run game for the last season, 2 seasons. So I'm really excited to see with more opportunity what Tony Pollard can do. But it stings. Today stung to officially see it that Zeke was gone. That stings. It stings a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie, it hit me a little bit.
Yeah.
To actually see it done?
Actually see it done.
And you were firmly on that, Ezekiel Elliott should probably no longer be a Cowboy. Where were you, Jess? Were you also in that place? Were you kind of comfortable with that idea if he needs to move on, or did you kind of feel he needed to be around?
No, I was, but if they could make it happen in some multiverse of the Dallas Cowboys, I would have loved to see it because, yes, Zeke's run game has obviously digressed over the last few seasons with the knee injury and just that nagging at him and moving and the productivity of it. But what I think goes so unspoken about with Zeke is his blockability, and he is just so stubby, and he's able to become this rock that is going to make sure that, look, O-line, if you're not doing it, I'm gonna take care of my quarterback. And so that, between that, pass pro, all of that aspect of Zeke is, again, that is hard to find with a running back position. Tony Pollard needs to shore up on that aspect of things, I think, but a great opportunity for him to do it this season.
And now for this offense, with Brian Schottenheimer taking over as the offensive coordinator, Mike McCarthy going to be calling the plays for this team, how this offense gets reshaped somewhat around the running game, and now with Tony Pollard being the focal point of it, that's the part to me where I want to see this offense now going into 2023. The now full deployment of Tony Pollard, whether it be in the running game, the passing game, and how much more involved he is now without the limitations of being and sharing, carries with Ezekiel Elliott. We're going to get the full Tony Pollard experience. What that translates to, we're going to find out ultimately in Brian Schottenheimer's offense this year. Yeah,
I still am of opinion. I understand that the idea of him carrying the load for this team is still not going to be him being 100% of the carries by any means, right? I still think that you're going to need some level of tandem, even if it is not the 1-2 punch or whatever it is, right? I still think you are going to need a support within that, and I'm interested to see where they go in that way to get that support because, again, you did mention, Jess, that blocking has been less than stellar for Tony Pollard. And so you still maybe would like to add somebody who has that. And more importantly, right, I don't think that's the primary objective when you're looking for a running back to also join this running back room, but also adding somebody to where you are not, taking a run first approach or a run heavier approach as it seems like they're going to do, and only putting that on the shoulders of one guy. I think we've passed the time where you do that unless you have somebody like a Derrick Henry, and even then he has had guys that complement him.
It preserves the running back position to have that 1-2 punch, that thunder and lightning. It preserves them to have longer careers because that's such a physical part of the game, is they are going through these brick walls of men in the D-line, right? So when you have that 1-2 punch, when you had Zeke and Tony really doing what they could do the best, I think, honestly, that helped Zeke more than we're thinking, because that knee injury kept nagging and nagging. So to have that relief from Tony Pollard, honestly, I think it helped him a lot more, and the productivity probably would have been less than it has been if it wasn't for the 1-2 punch being as strong as it's been.
Now, how this team will address it in the draft, there will be plenty of opportunities for them to do so with a running back class that has a lot of depth to it as you get into day 2, into day 3. We know that the primary star of this running back class is Bijan Robinson. The opportunity for him to be there at 26, I don't necessarily see it there, but there are other good backs that we look at that could be realistic options to help continue to facilitate that 1-2 punch that we have seen over the last couple of years with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. And Malik Davis will now get some of his opportunities within this offense as well. But I think the Cowboys firmly understand that looking to the draft to be able to improve this running back room is going to be where it is, whether it be Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back from Texas A&M, also Chris Rodriguez Jr., whether you're a Deuce Vaughn fan, a Kendre Miller fan of TCU. I know Alec Medford is very fond of the Kendre Miller running back from TCU. So there's opportunities there for them to improve based on what is available this year. How they address it is now up to them. But they had, look, and Reg, you made the point. As much as I loved Ezekiel and the toughness and everything that he brought here, it was ultimately time, because you could not justify bringing him back at that number with the production or lack thereof over the last several years and think that he was going to be an effective part of this offense. It just wasn't going to happen. I ultimately thought, just based on the way that Jerry likes to, get down his favorites, that he was ultimately going to find a way to keep him here. But give the Cowboys credit for making a tough but smart decision today, I think, in moving on from Ezekiel Elliott.
We have somebody on the on the YouTube channel who was talking about that they're still shocked that the Cowboys were active on the second day of free agency, and obviously when you add in the decision to move on from Ezekiel Elliott. Did the last few days of Cowboys activity give you any different insight into the way that you view the management structure of these Cowboys? Because there is kind of a set thought of, we know who they are, we know what their MO is. They are an old dog that does not figure out new tricks.
You know what it really solidified for me is you are officially seeing the Mike McCarthy era come to fruition. That's, to me, what it said, because yes, you've seen Mike McCarthy for the last 2 seasons. 2020, very weird season. We don't talk about that season. 2021, he was kind of building up. But then 2022, it was like he was almost there, but there were still little pieces, I think, within the coaching department that didn't quite fit what he was wanting. So now what you're seeing is, I think Jerry has that trust within Mike McCarthy enough to allow him to help make these decisions. And I really want to believe that the reason you're seeing this jump on the second day of free agency, and, technically it was still the legal tampering period, is because of Mike McCarthy. And I don't necessarily think, like, you look at everything else, that's really the only change you're seeing within the decisions being made, right? And so, I think credit to Mike McCarthy, just in general. I will be a Mike McCarthy stan through and through. Have your opinions on him, but I'm not changing mine. I mean, the guy's got you.
Mike McCarthy stan.
I'm a Mike McCarthy stan.
Oh, wow.
I'm firm on that.
Boy,
I'm
okay.
firm. And he changed my mind about him. Let me just say, 2020, I was like, oh man, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But really, when you see the culture that he is building for these players, it's different.
They love playing for him.
They play for him. And it's hard to find a coach that they believe in and they want to play for. And then again, you have Dan Quinn, who returned, which, by the way, you want to talk about having a splash in the second day of free agency defensively? You can't tell me that was not the guys wanting to come play for Mike McCarthy for Dan Quinn if they had the chance to do so. I will go out on a ledge here and say I don't think you would have seen those splash moves with Dono or LVE if Dan Quinn was not back in Dallas. I think it would have been a little bit more of a back and forth, let me entertain what other teams are saying, but I think Dan Quinn just solidified that you get your guys back.
Along with moving on from Ezekiel Elliott, the Cowboys did make a couple of other moves with some restructuring of contracts. The move today to restructure the contract of DeMarcus Lawrence, opening up about $8.9 million in room there. Also, Tyron Smith having his contract reworked today, which will keep him around for a 13th season for the Dallas Cowboys. He was set to make $13.6 million in the final year of his deal. His base salary will be dropped, but he'll be able to make up the money depending on how much he plays in the 2023 season. After the move that they made for DeMarcus Lawrence, the move increases Lawrence's cap number to a little more than $20 million going into the 2024 season there. So over the last couple of weeks, when you look at the restructures of Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Michael Gallup, along with DeMarcus Lawrence, freeing up nearly $45 million in cap space. And, of course, the additional move with Tyron Smith today also. We will see if something is able to come of that or if this is just the Cowboys playing Monopoly with their money.
Giving Odell a whole bunch of money. Here it come.
Oh, no.
I see what you're doing over there.
I know.
You didn't even give me anything. I hate you.
I see what you're doing over there.
You're supposed to respond. You know what I mean? Give the people what they want.
Well, you know,
Do they want Odell, though?
Oh, no, I just wanted a KG reaction. That was what we wanted. Yeah.
Okay.
because like Jess, I'm at the point like either do it or don't.
Please. I don't mind talking about Odell if he's officially with the Cowboys. That's
Yeah.
fine. Because, look, if you're going to be making those one-handed catches with the Cowboys and not against them, great. But until then, or if that happens, I'm so tired of talking about Odell. Oh, my goodness. The week he was visiting, that was insane. I didn't think I would ever say Odell's name so many times in my life as much as I said it that week.
That was so great.
It was madness.
The Suns were in town that week. Got to watch his boy Devin Booker play at the AAC.
You love to see it.
And then the AAC's
great.
chanting for Odell.
That's right.
Like, thank you, Mavs fans, for trying to get, in the recruitment process. That was great. It was nice.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all doing it to yourself. Y'all not really as upset about this as you want to say you are. You enjoy this. You like it.
Red,
You like
stop.
it.
Oh,
You like it.
Stop
and
it.
you want to know what else you like? You like reminding yourself about that one catch thing. Y'all keep doing it to
I
yourselves.
don't personally do that.
What you mean?
It
I
was
don't
good.
do that.
Look, it was nice.
Now,
if
we're talking about the Dez catch. Okay, now.
There
that
it
was
is.
a catch.
There it is.
That was a catch.
Yeah.
There it is.
Des caught it.
There it is.
Of course
Des
he did.
caught it.
He sure did.
Des, if you were listening, you caught it. And
He
we
know
all
he caught it.
He knows.
Everybody else didn't know it.
Yeah.
I guess Mike McCarthy didn't. He knew it that he didn't because he challenged the call, I guess.
What was that? One more time for me.
Anyway.
We've moved past that. We
Thank
learned
you.
to
Thank you,
forgive and
Jess. Thank you,
forget.
Jess. Thank you.
We don't.
Thank
we
you.
don't hold on to those things. We move on. We forgive. We forget,
Mhm.
and we move forward from that.
Very live, laugh, love. I love it.